Hey devs! Recently, each of the biggest LLM vendors released a new model. Each one states that its model is extremely good in coding and solving complex problems. I've been using Claude Sonnet 3.5 for the last 6 months, and now I decided to check whether Anthropic's model can still persist my favorite AI assistant for coding. That's why I decided to create a challenge for the newest LLMs to have a battle and to find out which AI is truly the best for coding in 2025. Let's go! Today I'm comparing some of the most popular AI coding models to see which one stands out from the rest. You might have heard of them. We've got OpenAI O3 Mini, Claude Sonnet 3.7, DeepSeek R1 and Google Gemini Flash. Each one claims to revolutionize the way we code, but which one actually delivers? The rules are simple. Each AI model will be given the same prompt and they'll have to develop a fully functional application from scratch. The twist is that they'll have to do it from the first try and the app has to meet certain specific requirements. It's not going to be easy, but I'm excited to see how they stack up against each other. I'll ask them to build a Markdown preview app with a list of defined features that I want them to implement. Here's the prompt that I prepared. You can pause the video here to review it in detail. How I'll evaluate the results. I created a table which outlines the criteria I'll be using to judge these AI models. As you can see, I'll give a point for each feature that was successfully implemented and 3 bonus points for UI clarity, responsiveness and general look and feel. There is additional point reserved in case any model exceeds my expectations from the functionality standpoint. I'll be using this table to score each model and then declaring the winner at the end of the challenge. Let's take a look at how each model developed the app. I'll start with the worst score and move further to the top. And let's begin with Gemini. I'm very curious as far as I only tested this model for development purpose once, and it did perform pretty decent. The code it provided to me had a small TypeScript compilation issue, but I fixed it. It was really trivial, so let's review the app itself. I prepared the example Markdown snippet to test all the features mentioned in the prompt. You can find the code, the prompt and the Markdown snippet by the link in the description. So, the UI seems clean and accurate. It's responsive, table of contents is present, the text is formatted correctly, links are displayed, the image is rendered, but when I click it, I don't like how it's expanded. The lists seem to be fine, but something's wrong with nesting. The code is not formatted in a code block. The block quotes look pretty, but the collapsible section is not treated as so. I'd rate UI with 2 out of 3 points, it's decent and responsive. So Gemini scored 11 points, let's see how other models performed. DeepSeek was the longest one to provide an answer. The code it provided contained a small issue in HTML which prevented the app from being successfully executed. The issue was pretty small and obvious, so I fixed it, and here's how DeepSeek's app looks like. It created the table of contents, the links are clickable, text formatting is okay, the image is present and opened in a separate model window, I like it. The ordered list is treated as unordered and the markers flew away from their layout. Nesting seems to be fine. Code seems to be formatted well, but there is no syntax highlighting. Block quotes and collapsible sections do not work. I'd say the result is pretty average. Not saying that the solution didn't work out of the box and DeepSeek was the longest one to generate the response. The UI feels a bit broken and not really stylish, however, it's responsive enough, so I'll give it 1 out of 3 points for UI. The total DeepSeek score is 11.5 points, decent job DeepSeek. Now it's O3 Mini's turn. I used this model a lot for coding, but I didn't feel like it's my favorite one. Sometimes it was really good, but it sometimes failed in pretty obvious tasks. So I had a feeling it's not as good as OpenAI states it is. Let's check O3 Mini's application. The important thing to mention is that application just executed out of the box. The code was fine and didn't have any errors. It's the only model which made a horizontal split, not vertical. I don't really follow this decision, but let it be. The table of contents is generated, text is formatted enough, there are links and image rendered as well. Same issue as Gemini had with image expansion. The lists are recognized, but you can see the layout issues like DeepSeek had. Code block is working, but the syntax highlight is buggy. Copy code button is present but doesn't copy the code. Block quotes and collapsible sections do not work, despite we see the toggle button which does nothing. In general, UI feels overloaded, there are no gaps between the elements, and a horizontal split is a weird decision. However, it's responsive, so O3 Mini deserved one additional point for UI. The final score is 11.5, so it's a draw between DeepSeek R1 and O3 Mini. Before the experiment, I thought O3 Mini would outperform DeepSeek, but it couldn't. Let's move further to the winner. Claude 3.7 has the optional reasoning capabilities, and I've heard that reasoning makes it a bit worse in coding somehow, so I prompted Claude twice, one time without reasoning and once with it. Let's first look how Claude Sonnet with reasoning performed. The code worked out of the box without my interventions. I bet you see that the UI is much more beautiful and well structured when comparing to results of the previous models. One more thing to notice is that there is a placeholder Markdown present instead of just empty fields like other models did. I'll now paste my own example instead. The table of contents is collapsible, very good. The headings have an underline, text is formatted well. Only bold and italic have the special symbols left here. We can see the links and the image. If I click it, it opens in a separate lightbox. Very cool. The lists are rendered fine, but the nested ones aren't formatted correctly. Code block is rendered, but still there is no syntax highlighting. Block quotes work, but collapsible sections don't. The UI looks very good to me. It's more colorful, has dynamic elements, and I am confidently giving it 2 out of 3 points. The overall score is 14.5, which makes Claude Sonnet a leader with a 3-point lead. And now it's time to see how Claude performed without thinking mode, and the result is astonishing. I really like what I see. It's pretty similar to what we've just seen with reasoning, but now we also have the feature flags in the sidebar. We can enable and disable 4 features that Claude thought can be optional, and I really like it. It has a placeholder Markdown as an example. I think it's a nice user experience. I'll paste my own Markdown to evaluate all the features, and you can see that the headings, bold, italic text are formatted with no issues. The links and image are nice. Same issue with image expansion. Lists are fine, but with the nesting issue, code is placed in its own block and copy button works fine. Block quotes are cool, but with redundant symbol, and it was the only model which successfully made a collapsible section so that it works. And in general, the UI is stylish, responsive and solid, so I'll give it 3 out of 3 points here. And it's the only model which took the requirements one step further and added the feature flags in sidebar along with the placeholder Markdown value, and I decided to reward it with 1 additional point for exceeding my expectations. And Claude Sonnet 3.7 without reasoning scores 16 points in total and becomes a clear winner of this challenge. I was using Claude Sonnet 3.5 for the last 6 months and it was my no-brainer choice for coding. And now I'm happy that Anthropic holds this competition and released a really worthy successor. Thanks, Anthropic. In this challenge, I only focused on the ability of the models to deliver the value. I intentionally didn't compare the code structure and quality, refactoring and code review capabilities. If you want to see a video with such competition, let me know in the comments. AI assistants can make us developers faster and much more efficient. This effect is maximized if you choose the right model. I hope this video helped you to understand the modern model's capabilities. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of AI coding tools. If you've had any experiences with these tools, I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to New Recode channel for more AI related contents for devs. Peace!